Welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to have everyone here today in 2023 to join us at Sparx Systems. And today we're going to be talking about Enterprise Architect Software as a Service and Sparx Systems Cloud Platform to support your cloud-first strategy. My name's Scott Hebbard. I'm the Communications Manager here at Sparx Systems. I'm joined by Nizam Mohammed, who is our resident expert in Enterprise Architect SaaS technologies, who is going to step through and chat about Enterprise Architect SaaS and the Sparx Systems Cloud Platform. So I'm very pleased to be joined by Nizam today. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. We'll talk about how to submit questions. This webinar will appear on YouTube and the Sparx Systems website. There's a number of resources available, including recent webinars that have been posted on the Sparx Systems website and the Sparx Systems YouTube page. So we encourage you to have a look at some of those. We're going to hand over shortly to Nizam, that's going to introduce the topic of EA SaaS and Sparx Systems Cloud Platform to support your cloud-first strategy. And then at the end, we'll swap over and take some Q&A from the audience and answer some of your questions. Please note that audio is muted for all participants and you'll be able to type questions to the host. And as always, if we can't answer all of the questions live, we'll follow up offline. And we generally publish those responses on the Sparx Systems website. And it usually takes about a week for the responses and all of the resources to be published on the Sparx Systems website. But we try to get the YouTube video up as soon as possible. So you'll see the question dialog on screen. If you simply enter text into the text box, hit send or hit enter on the numeric keypad, that'll come through to myself and we'll be able to respond. But right now, I would like to hand over to Nizam, that's going to present on EA SaaS and the Sparx Systems Cloud Platform to support the cloud-first strategy. So welcome, Nizam. Great to have you here today and really looking forward to this presentation.
Thank you very much, Scott. Hello, everyone. This is Nizam. Thank you very much for joining. Highly appreciate it. In this session, like Scott mentioned, we'll be looking at what is EA SaaS and the Sparx Cloud platform from Sparx Systems and how it could be employed in your teams and in your organization in lieu of conventional on-premise setup, which includes a considerable amount of IT overheads and challenges. So that's the gist of today's webinar. You can know more by visiting saas.sparxsystems.com, or you could drop us an email at saas@sparxsystems.com if you'd like to take a trial or have a discussions, but that is specific to your organizational needs. You can always reach to us. Agenda for today, we'll be taking a quick look at what is the SaaS all about. Like, SaaS is a very commonly used term. It could mean different things. In this context, from a Sparx world, what do we mean by SaaS? Or what are the things that we are including in a SaaS offering? A quick demo of how the whole thing works and what kind of performance and user experience we can expect using a SaaS offering, and we'll go through the basics of what are the advantages of getting to a cloud platform and what has changed all of a sudden and why is cloud being discussed so much. Some of the Sparx EA improvements that has happened over the course to support such deployment and user experience. What does it take for you to get started with an EA SaaS or migrate to a SaaS from what you have currently? So we'll take a closer look at that, and we'll have some things around the specific advantages of EA SaaS as opposed to doing it over a remote desktop or a Citrix emulator or even some of the off-the-shelf offerings, and we'll give you a demo of the SaaS experience with SSO. So that's the idea. And if you have any questions, like Scott mentioned, please drop it down in the chat window, and we'll try to go through it towards the end. This is a topic that we have discussed a few times in the past, but this is something really new in the Sparx ecosystem. So we're trying to talk about it again to let people know that this one, which was requested for a number of years, is now available. There's been a significant focus on cloud and SaaS from Sparx, and that could help you get started and continue with the EA practice without much ado. So what is software as a service? As you all know, it's just about getting things in a service, like you just pay for a subscription and start using it. Do not have to bother about setting it up or taking any efforts with the IT teams to configure it and make it work. However, this sounds very simple on a native web application. So for your Jiras and Confluences, for example, they're more a native application. But when it comes to an application which has been there for a while, like Sparx EA, it has its legacy. It's more than 23 years it's been in the market. It's a thick client application which is expected to be installed to get the full benefit of it, to use the whole raft of features that it supports. Bringing that as a SaaS offering is a little more challenging than just a web application that could be containerized and deployed. However, the new ways of doing it and emerging support from AWS and Azure have made it possible, and we have specifically relying on what we call the application streaming, which is it's a technical detail behind, but getting the whole Sparx platform as a SaaS involves a little more than a simple web application and deploying it. So that's what we have achieved. And when we speak about, okay, we have got this now and this should be the thing of the future, from most people we get a response that this should have been done years ago, which we accept as well. But this is how the market has been evolving as well. And when we come to Enterprise Architect SaaS specifically, what we are talking about is there is a SaaS streaming service, which is just a replacement for what conventionally people have to install in their local machine to get started. An Enterprise Architect, as you know, can be just an application that could be worked in your local system as well, almost like Visio, where you have a local project, you create your models, you export them as Words and PDFs and share it to others. So that's still a possibility, and you could still continue doing it. So if you are not someone who is intending to make it as a collaborative modeling practice for the entire team, you can just get SaaS instance and start using on your own. And people who are individual, like consultants and independent architects who are trying to build some concept, are kind of using this as a standalone offering, especially people who are using Mac, where the installation requires a few more steps than installing it in a Windows machine. Those are the people who could just get started with SaaS. But when you come to a team of people using it on a using a central repository, have multiple users use EA and using a floating license and things like that, and EA infrastructure is also associated with it. Again, as I said, this is optional, but most teams who would like to set up a centralized enterprise architecture practice will go for a central repository as well. So when we say the cloud offering, we kind of refer to this and this. I mean, these are two different components, but usually, availed as a together to ensure we have the collaborative modeling using the for the architecture teams. And in terms of who is this for, as I said, we have, as every Sparx EA offering, this is catered to a variety of audience as well. So it's not like one size fits all. If you are individuals like consultants or practitioners using EA on your own, you could still continue doing that, albeit don't have to install, keep up with the versions and things like that. That's still a possibility. But you could also have an offering tailored for a small team. We are trying to, we have tried to clearly differentiate that from a larger team, which requires more consideration, like multi-zone availabilities and maybe single sign-on across all the platforms. So there is a lot of requirements that comes very specific with a very large team, but there are teams who would like to quickly get started and get on action and start working. So we have different packaged offerings which can be tailored as well, but we are trying to have an offering for every different types of personas. And in terms of what goes in an implementation, we have tried to refine it and work very closely with the actual cloud providers like AWS and Azure to make sure we've got the best practices and the best considerations in place, so that we could cater to the variety of requirements as well. So we started offering a cloud product in the initial stages, but then as we started working for more users and more teams across the world, and as the technology has been evolving as well, we've been discovering there's like so many new fine details and options that different countries, different verticals require, and we've been adding support for those in a very quick manner. And now we can say there's quite a comprehensive offering which can be customized and tailored as per your specific vertical, specific country as requirements as well. And in terms of compliance, as I said, like we've been very closely working with especially AWS, like the tech team in AWS has been actively working with us to fine-tune this product and make it really suitable for large enterprise needs. So we have almost 100% compliance for all the AWS standards, and we have also got the the most essential SOC compliances and VAPTs, which is all the key check boxes that an InfoSec team wants us to check before this kind of gets approved for an organizational use. So that's also been taken care of so that you don't have to worry about it. What I'm going to do now is quickly see a demo of how the whole thing works. And I want to start from the basics because there's still a little bit of confusion on what this is. People still have that anchoring effect where they go back to Citrix and remote desktops and things like that, because when it comes to application, there's been a number of ways used in the past to render it without installation. But what we are essentially doing is start from a browser, like a simple Chrome browser. That's why I'm starting from here, and just a click, a single URL will take you to a landing page that is connected to your applications. So all the applications through a single URL, and that URL could be customized for your specific branding requirements as well. You could log in through SSO or through a system user. So we've just made the user experience as easy as possible so that you don't have to have multiple clicks or multiple steps to just get to your application, which is usually the case. And as I click on open repository, what it is doing is it's initializing my workspaces, my colors, and all the preferences for my enterprise architect application, and loading this application in the Chrome browser. So it's essentially loading your application on a Chrome browser and giving it to you with SSO enabled and connection to your central repository. And just by clicking login with SSO, what it will do is I am now logging into a EA repository, like a EA repository. So I've connected to a central database, like a MySQL repository, and I'm working on something that is in the Europe. So just to show you the kind of performance that I can expect, I'm working from the Asian region, and this is in Europe. So usually I should expect latency and some delays in the way I use it, but this demo is to show you that it will be a seamless experience. And more than that, as I log in, it has automatically logged me in as Nizam Mohammed, and I have also done the user onboarding. I highly simplified the user onboarding experience. So I have connected to the SAML provider or your IAM provider, and I'm automatically onboarding the user to a EA group. So this is a lot of fine details I'm talking about here, but this is all to make sure the user onboarding is seamless. Like, you don't have to manage users in multiple places. So you don't have to manage users in EA, you don't have to manage users in Collaborate, and also manage users in your IAM, identity and access provider as well. So it's all seamless, and I log in as a specific user to my EA model without having to enter any details. And now what I'm saying is I am browsing through diagrams, doing some of the basic things like, applying legends or, applying a color coding based on tag values. These are all things that are usually expected to take some time or have some latency when we use EA on a remote connection on a WAN. But here you could see that it's almost seamless. And one of the complex use cases when we work on a remote setup is this export and import. And as you could see, exporting on 1.1 XML even takes just the same time that it will take in your local environment. So I'm running this demo just to show that the experience that I get as a browser. So people will and should forget that they're using it through a browser. So once I go full screen, it's almost like working in a normal EA environment, and I'm copying a package or exporting a package, importing the package with stripped goods like as a copy, and that brings across not just the objects but also all the connectors and things like that, as you know. So I'm just going to enable the traceability window to show even the copy package has all the connectors and things like that. And it all took just a couple of seconds, as it would usually take in a normal EA desktop connected to a EAP file. So that's our benchmark performance, and we can achieve that through SaaS. Though I'm working it from India and I'm connecting to a European central repository, the performance is seamless, and that's one significant difference in a SaaS platform. And I'm doing some of the usual use cases like inserting related elements and laying out the diagram. It all will be absolutely seamless with zero latency. That's one of the key advantages of having it as a central repository. And to add to it, another question that usually comes is, can I import my files? Can I export the generated documents? Yes, you have a very controlled access to your local drive as well. So you have access to your local drive, but you can import and export files from and to your SaaS application to your local machine. So just showing you how I can navigate between my machine and the SaaS environment quite seamlessly. So that's a quick demo to show the end-to-end user experience of how one logs in and can do some of the basic use cases in EA. And I have specifically picked the diagramming and insert related elements and exports because that's where we get a lot of reports saying, I'm connecting to a repository somewhere, in a different region, and it's just taking forever to build a diagram and lay it out. Like, these are the impact of having a remote connection and things like that. And with SaaS, it kind of makes it more seamless. So that's a quick demo. And now getting into why one can consider cloud today, and how we can get onboarded with a cloud offering from Sparx. So I'll start with what are the usual deterrents for cloud. It's always the security concerns and the organizational policies where it's all been were designed long back, and they are still in place, and some of these questions will be a big blocker to go to cloud. There's loads and loads of existing EA repositories and setup and installations that could be in place, and there's a big concern on loss of data, business continuity, and things like that when migrating to cloud. And that is also something which has been preventing users. And on top of all these lack of awareness, people still think it's the old school way of doing it in EA. So lack of awareness is a key challenge that we are trying to address as well. So in every instance, when I talk to a user, when I do a training, or when I'm on a consulting session, it's an information, it's a news to them. And and that's kind of what we are trying to avoid. Like people should know there's an offering like this, had they if they would like to consider. And in terms of what has changed, especially post COVID, like it's now almost like a past, but still post COVID world is entirely different to what we have seen it before. So COVID-19 has been one strong driver that has changed a number of things in organizations. So in terms of security policies and security checklists and policies, they've been revised globally, and there's been a significant push towards a cloud only strategy, because people realized the perils of having an in-house IT team, and what if they're not available, the kind of business continuity challenges that they faced when people were away were all the eye-openers that led all the policies to be revised across any industry globally. So I can say this because we've been working, especially in the 2021 and 2022 in particular, there's been users who are moving to cloud whom I personally thought will never move to cloud, like honestly, but that's kind of the change that we are seeing globally. And there's also more need for remote collaboration and productivity tools, because people are working from home more than ever. And like there's also the same thing, people are working from home, and there's very few people to offer you that on-premise 24/7 support and things like that. And that's all the reasons why people are trying to move to cloud. And this is all something that you already know, just trying to reiterate. And according to the market change, Sparx EA has also been significant, working on it to address all the key challenges that we faced during the initial SaaS deployments. One of the considerable change is the introduction of the PCS, which is the web enabler and the REST API. That kind of made it quite handy when we want to go as a remote deployment, like with a HTTPS connectivity. So that changed a lot. And then in EA 16, they also introduced SQLite in replacement for the conventional EAP files. EAP files were using the JET or the MS Access database, which was okay, but it was not as robust and as reliable as SQLite. And now with EA 16, a deployment for a small team or an individual has never been easier and more reliable. And Sparx EA has also been putting a considerable, have been emphasizing on optimizing the performance and improving all the delays. So conventionally, it's a thick client application. A lot of its design has been around the assumption that it's a thick client application which works on a repository that's very close to it. But as we start seeing distributed deployments and multi-regional availabilities and things like that, things were showing up here and there, but they have been ahead of the game trying to fix it to make sure it's a seamless experience to the users. So these are all slides from Tom O'Reilly, who is the COO of Sparx, in his presentation. So I just grabbed those slides to show that they were working on it. And this is the release notes of EA 16.1, and they've addressed all the points that Tom gave as a heads up in his previous presentations. So everything The things that we have identified as challenges in the past while trying to set up as a cloud environment, because backups were critical, retaining the users workspaces and preferences were critical, and to enable all those, there were some changes that's needed in the application side, and Sparx has been really proactive in giving us those changes as well. So all the changes that Tom spoke about in a while ago has all been implemented, and it's now available in 16.1. So even the founder himself, so Jeffrey Sparx is, as you know, the CEO of Sparx Systems, and he's the founder, and he himself has given a considerable emphasis on why the SaaS platform with EA 16.1 will be considerably useful to the users. So this is just to show that there's been a focus across the organization to make sure the SaaS offering is working seamlessly. And as I said, we have also been working very closely with the cloud providers, especially AWS, and in designing this solution. So this is not a conventional web application. As I said, there's a lot of nuances that goes into it, because we wanted to create that seamless experience, a single URL connected to your SSO, no more logins for any other tools, and you get the option, users get the option to choose what they want to do. It's either EA or Collaborate or a combination of both. So they can just choose what they want without getting into the hassles of maintaining URLs or logging into RDPs. So that was some effort required from our end, and looking at it, AWS themselves acknowledged it as a product that is making a significant impact, so they kind of featured it in a case study in the AWS side as well. So this is just to show this has gone through all the scrutiny, or all the testing by the AWS guys as well, to make sure to kind of endorse that this product solves the problem and in the right way as well. So this is just an extract from the AWS case study, and this is from the product side. From the whole ecosystem side as well, what has changed. The entire market has been moving towards cloud, and we are seeing just more and more statements like, oh, we didn't realize it existed. So people come to say, we would like to get started with EA and Collaborate, and then the moment they know there is a SaaS offering, they say, like, we never knew that, and that will make things a lot more easier for us to get an approval. So it's a significant change in the way people look at deployments and the organizational preferences to go for cloud. And there's also been a rapid evolution in the AWS and Azure side as well. As you people, if some of you who might have followed all this, you would have realized it's all happening in the last 2-3 years. So as your virtual desktop, the AWS App Stream has been going through some significant improvements, and they are trying to cater to the similar requirements as well. So it's been significant improvements in terms of security and support that they provide as well to the vendors like us who are working on an extended product using them. And in terms of the product, as I mentioned, what we have is something that could be highly customized to suit different verticals, different countries' requirements, different teams' requirements. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. And we have also put in a significant effort from our side to make it easy for you to choose the right product as well. By talking to you, getting a gist of what you are trying to accomplish, and providing you with the right options as well. So the product has also improved a lot, and what this enables is rapid time to market. So people would like to start with a collaborative modeling tool and do it immediately. That's when a SaaS or a cloud-based offering would make it really easy, because within 48 hours tops, we can get you live and get started. So that's the kind of maturity that we have achieved in the product as well. And in terms of whole support network, there is a really large support network across the globe to help you understand what is here, to work with you to understand your specific requirements. So there's a lot of support activities as well, and everyone has been working in unison together to make sure we convey the right message to the users as well. And just talking on support, we also have a 24 hours round the clock support for the cloud platforms to make sure these platforms are supported always, and there is business continuity in all zones at all times. So that's our promise as well. And in terms of market maturity, just to continue on it, like this is I just took some screenshots from the actual mails we got from users, and the immediate thing, the first thing that they say is about the performance, because these are people who've been using EA for a while, but then over a remote connection would have had different types of performance issues or latency issues, and EA SaaS addresses them. And the second type of feedback that we get is, there are people who've been using EA for a while, but they also understand the complexity in setting it up through their internal teams. So, due to security concerns and the traditional desktop deployments, it's not easy to get them up and running really quickly. So that's when they wanted to have like a SaaS offering to get them started almost immediately. And we were able to get them up and running in a day. So that's the kind of response time that we were able to offer them as well. So that's a quick intro of what is cloud and what is the SaaS and what are the advancements from a product side. And now coming to how do we migrate to a SaaS environment? Like, there's going to be a number of questions that you may have. I'm just trying to give an attempt on how to migrate. And when we are looking at the choosing the right product, or what do you need as a SaaS offering, as I already mentioned, so there's like individuals, small teams and large teams kind of offerings that we have pre-packaged, but there could be a mix of these that you could choose to get started. And all you need to do is to either visit sparxsystems.com. So the sparxsystems.com has EA SaaS listing, which will give you an overview of what's available, and you could get in touch with us by just requesting a quote or just talk to us, or you could even email SaaS@sparxsystems.com to get in touch with one of us. In terms of what we offer, as I said, like there's almost like no fixed cost, like there's no capex. It's going to be opex, like you use what you pay for what you use, and if you want to downsize it or scale it up, it's not going to be a challenge at all. We've seen a number of large banks, like experiences with banks and telcos and others. We have placed an order for EA 14.1 in an organization. I'm talking about a couple of years back. So we got an approval for 14.1, and then by the time we were able to convince the infrastructure team to repackage their image with the new 14.1, EA 15 was released. So it took us nearly 7 months to just get an approval to do the repackaging and releasing it. That kind of spoils the spirit, because the team were quite excited to get started with the new features then, and by the time they had it, that version was almost outdated and replaced with the new version. So that kind of complexities can all be addressed. You could just start, you could try it, scale it up, or scale it down as per your requirements. So that's kind of where SaaS makes a significant difference. And what are the options for you? You could have the entire platform deployed, which includes collaborate. Like if your requirement is for modelers and collaborators who would like to consume the model information, you could go for the entire platform. Or if you'd like to get started with just enterprise architect and a repository and floating licenses, you could do that as well. So it's again mix and match what you want to get started. And if you don't want any of these, you just want enterprise architect application on a browser, that is also possible if you are an individual or a consultant who would like to get started with the SQLite. So you choose your edition based on what you really need. Again, we have tried to make it easy for users to, in terms of price points and features as well. So if you are someone who really want a full experience with third-party add-ons and like premium support, call supports and things like that, and enterprise premium edition could be the one. but for most users, it's the standard edition. Like, you have a single URL, a customizable landing page, all the applications in one page, and it is SSO integrated to your organizational identity and access provider. And that kind of, this is kind of the most preferred offering for most people. However, there are also small teams who are okay with EA-based securities and individual URLs for named users. There is a limited or a starting kind of an edition, which we call the business edition as well. So there are different products or offerings that could suit the specific personas. And this is one of the questions that comes to us often: what do I need to get started? So in terms of SaaS selection process, it's not as simple as we try to make it look. Like, although we want it to be really easy, it's not as easy as that, because there's a number of decision points that has to go through that you have to go through before choosing the right platform for you. So the first thing is the EA license type. So you still need a valid EA license to work on. That could be a corporate or ultimate or anything in between. And then you could buy new licenses, EA licenses, or if you have existing licenses, you could reuse them as long as they are active and valid licenses. We may advise you, if you have to renew it, if there's not enough validity in this license, but still you could bring your existing licenses as well. And then you choose the right edition of SaaS, depending on what are the specific features you need. And then if you're done, you don't need a central repository. That's pretty much it. So you could get started now. But let's say you need a central repository with floating license management. Then you need to choose the number of repositories and region in which it has to be deployed, or you want it, which is usually where your the primary team is, and that will include all the the security considerations in that particular region. And then choose security preferences, availability preferences, etc. And if you do not need collaborate and you're you're ready to start with EA and a central repository, there it ends. But if you really need collaborate, which is more for collaboration for non-EA users, then you choose the number of collaborators and do it. So this is a typical selection process to get started with EA SaaS. However, I know this sounds it's already complicated, and this makes it even more complex. So alternatively, just talk to us, and we will try to understand what you really need and give you something that's very specific to you, a customized proposal that kind of takes into considerations all the decision points that I spoke about previously. So that's when you want to migrate to SaaS. And now some of the things why EA SaaS as opposed to some of the out of the box offerings. So you could still consider Azure virtual desktop for your so-called cloud deployment, but there are things that we have done very specifically in EA SaaS on top of the overall SaaS advantages. That's what we are going to see now. So first thing about SaaS is in itself, you don't have to worry about where it's installed, what are the nuances in installing a crossovers and things like that, especially for Mac users. And you could just work from anywhere, any device. And the reason it is that way is when you have a thick client application, you can install it still, but your repository, let's say, is in the US and you are in Europe and you're trying to connect to the US repositories, that's going to have some latency introduced because it's in different environments. But a SaaS offering is all in one place, so it kind of gives us that smooth experience. And then the next thing is updates or installations. It's all managed by us, so we will make sure, and we've been doing in a way that there's zero downtime. Business continuity is paramount, so of paramount importance. So we make sure it's zero downtime, and we always get make sure we have the latest and stable version of the software available for the users. However, users have a say, or the users are the approving authority. So we will check with the users to make sure they are fine for us to go to the, let's say, EA 16.1 version 1624. We will not just go and do it overnight. We will check with you, inform you about a possible upgrade activity happening over your weekend, just so that your team is aware. So it's a proper process that we follow to do the updates and installations, but again, nothing that you have to worry about. In terms of scalability, as I said, performance, scalability, and operational agility is only possible in a cloud environment. You want to scale it down, scale it up, that's all pretty much instant. Like, with a couple of days, you'll be able to get a new environment scaled up or scaled down without any hassle. So that's a key when it comes to large teams and growing teams as well. So that kind of makes it the data loss due to latency, the kind of performance degradation due to different zones is all deterrents for people to adopt the solution. But with a cloud-based offering, it'll all kind of be smooth. And in terms of bottom line cost savings as well, on an outset it may look like, hey, I'm paying a lot more than simple EA license. Yes, you have to pay more than a simple EA license, because what we are addressing is not just giving you, it's not a replacement for what was there 20 years, for the last 23 years. What we are trying to address is your operational overheads, your IT costs, and the certainty in what your budgeting is. So those are all the overheads when it comes to internal IT deployments, and we have tried to address them and make sure you know what you're going to what you're looking at as your OPEX, and it's a subscription, so it's an operational expense which has its own advantages as opposed to a capital expenses. And in terms of what is in a SaaS deployment, we would make sure all your repositories and licenses are set up, and it's allowed, it allows you access from anywhere. And this is the key. So we will have it connected to your SSO, and there's been a significant effort from our side to make the SSO work smooth, because we want to make sure, and it's also an organizational infosec requirement these days, that users should not be managed in the applications. Users should be managed in a central access identity provider, because if you have to remove them, remove access for them or enable access for them, it should be just done in one place rather than in multiple applications. And we have done put in a lot of effort to make sure the SSO works seamlessly across the platform, and that is one of the key differentiators from using an off-the-shelf streaming solutions versus what EA SaaS does. And then we have refined setup practices, because we have been using EA for a while now. And our team has been helping users to make sure they have the best setup practices depending on their team. So there will be teams who will come and say, we would really like to do a Git-based repository, and we will go back and say, yes, it's possible, but it's not the architecture that we are doing today as a central repository. You may have to look at other options. We will help them with those things as well. It's not, most of them would go with a central repository for their collaboration access, but if the requirement is different, we will help them find the right solution. We will help them with the capacity planning based on their usage. So there was a team who came and said, we need 130 EA modelers set up. We said, fine, that's great, but we didn't just go ahead and do a capacity planning for 130 concurrent users, because that's probably not what they were referring. Yes, they would expect 130 people to use, but intensive modeling will be only, let's say, 1/3 of it. So we will do we kind of take that subject matter expertise while discussing with the users to get the right deployment for them as well. And we will also do the pre-migration validation and planning to make sure all your data that you have today, if you want to migrate them, is done seamlessly. So that's also something that we kind of take it quite seriously, because business continuity and no loss of data is something that is absolutely essential, and we will try to make sure that, we have been trying to make sure that is in place as well. So overall, it's going to be a lot easier to use, simpler to set up, and it's definitely multi-folds faster than your conventional deployments. And what goes in a EA deployment, like, old days, you just need an EA application, install it in your machine, get started. And if you wonder why do you need all this for that kind of a setup, probably that is not the way it is done in most organizations today, because there is so many things. There are databases, there's applications, there's external applications that connect to it, there's integrations that goes with it. So there's so many things above and beyond installing an application on a desktop and start using it. So all this is what we talk about when we do a SaaS offering, so that you don't have to worry about all this and just get started. You'll be given a URL, and that's pretty much it. You use your organizational emails and get started. So that's how simple it should be. It's been made. And I've been emphasizing on SSO so much because this was one of the challenges we've been trying to address and give a smooth experience, because like for most InfoSec requirements, this is absolutely essential. We cannot we cannot negotiate on this to say for a few applications you need users to be managed here. That's a big no from a lot of organizations today. So what we have done is, like, an SSO that will allow you to conform to your corporate enterprise security measures, like, your password policies, your two-factor authentications, your joiner lever processes. All these are already defined at an organizational level. Even the access controls and restrictions is defined by defining groups in your IAM provider. So why redo it in individual applications when we can do everything from your central secure, setup? That's exactly why we invested a lot of time to make sure it's a single seamless experience. So conventionally, how it used to work is the user, this is let's say your identity provider, and there'll be a hit first to get a user authentication to get you to the AWS portal, and then you have OpenID to log into EA. So there's another authentication that will be requested to the user to get you to EA, and you just add more. So Prolaborate, another authentication. So that's how it was going, and it wasn't very smooth. Each of these logins will be different. So this will require a different kind of login. This will require a different kind of login. So that's all. That wasn't very smooth. It was cumbersome. So what we have achieved now is a SaaS unified authorization portal that will just go hit your external identity provider once, and that will be conformant to all your existing policies and setup. And from there, that manages access to each of your applications seamlessly in the way it wants. So there are different ways these applications requires them, and it all is taken care by the SaaS deployment today. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share as a gist of what is SaaS and how to get started and how you can reach to us. This is something new in this space, but there has been a significant difference or change in the way users are seeing an on-premise deployment, and there's been a considerable increase in interest for cloud. And we just want to give you an overview of what is offered by Sparx Systems today, so that you could include this in your decision making process in the future. And if you would like to reach to us, here are the details.
Thank you very much, Nizam. That was an excellent presentation, and it certainly gave a nice high-level overview of how the EA SaaS deployment makes life easier with a single sign-on, makes it easier for administration, and it saves time and energy and effort for different organizations. So our audience has been very engaged and has asked quite a few questions. So I might try and ask a couple of those questions. So there are a few people that ask, do you have the ability to change, the layout of, for example, the windows and floating windows, and perhaps you like dark mode in Enterprise Architect, and you like your EA set up in a certain way as you can in the thick client. So can you perhaps just talk about, is that possible using EA SaaS? Can you go to dark mode? Can you change the Windows
Absolutely.
layout?
It's a great question, and I'm just going to bring, yes, absolutely. They are definitely possible, and that kind of led us to even some changes in the way EA is doing it. So yes, workspaces, Windows customizations, menu customizations, your themes, your colors, pretty much everything um, can be done and retained, preserved as well. So initial days, we had a challenge to retain just these settings because it was all going to everywhere in the OS, like, it was written to the registries and app data and things like that. And to back up a user specific settings was quite a challenge. But then we discussed with the Sparx product team, and that is the reason for the whole changes. So, you could what you don't have to do this, but internally what we can do is the app data and registries, which was not persistent and which was stored in Windows everywhere, is all been now moved to a location which can be backed up and preserved for the user. So when you log in, all your settings will be loaded in the way that you wanted and you left it the last time. So yes, that's definitely yes, and it's a really good question, because that again was something that we were able to achieve after some changes internally as well.
And I think one of the great things that's worth pointing out, and I know Nizam and myself know this, is that we've listened to customers and we've taken that feedback on board, so that now that information isn't just stored in the registry locally, but in this app data custom directory. It gives you the ability to have your windows set up the way you like under SaaS. And we certainly do, listen to customer feedback and try to take it on board. And a lot of these changes, when I was, writing material for the release of EA 16.1, I thought, I wonder why this is so important, but it's really important so that customers can have EA looking and feeling the way they want. So thanks for that, Nizam. There's another similar related question, and I think I saw it in your breakdown of the different types of SaaS offerings, but if someone has a MDG technology and would like to use that, or if someone wanted to access Prolaborate, or if someone wanted to access something like one of the other EA SaaS tools, is that capable? So like Confluence, for example, or Prolaborate.
Yes, absolutely. So that's another really good question. So MDG technologies, I think that's that should have been answered by now as well, because MDG technologies can be imported, and that, technically speaking, that gets stored in app data as well. So that's preserved for you as well, or it is stored in the repository. So yes, you can import MDG technologies, but I believe the question could also be on add-ons. So third, external add-ons, like Lemon Tree or EA Docs, kind of external offerings from the third, like partners. That's also possible, because as much as EA supports all these features, these add-ons are a significant value add as well. So I'm just trying to go back to the page where we talk about Enterprise Standard Edition and Enterprise Premium Edition. The main difference between Enterprise Standard Edition and Enterprise Premium Edition is that out of the box support for external add-ons and integrations with Confluence and SharePoints and things like that. So yes, again, a great question, but yes, we have definitely thought about it as well.
Yeah, I noticed on that screen, and I was almost going to interrupt, but you were going so well, I thought, no, I'm not going to interrupt. But yeah, there were a number of customers that talked about Confluence and and other integrations and getting access to those. So that's great. We've got another question that says, is it possible to have EA SaaS and you're working with multiple repositories. So not just one repository, but perhaps within an enterprise or an organization, they have 10 or 15 different repositories that they use.
Absolutely, so when I spoke about the selection process, that is one of the things I mentioned about, how many repositories do we need? A number of repositories is a question. So yes, we can support multiple repositories, and what we also do is we will, 10 or 15 could be quite a lot. Like we can support it, but usually it's 3 to 4 kind of repositories. We pin them for the users as well, so that when they log in, they just see that in EA they don't have to key in a PCS connection detail or anything of that sort. So they just look at their repositories and log in. And what is also important is, even they can have multiple repositories, so the answer is simple, but even with multiple repositories, you can have an onboarding experience specific to those repositories. So depending on which group you are logging in as, you can have different permissions in different repositories. So it is definitely supported, and it's supported in an even more granular way as well.
Thanks, Nazam. That's great. Just a little follow up on that from Frank says, will this work with EA repositories that are integrated with version control?
Yes. So yes, version control, as I said, I did mention about Git as well. But if you are going to do SVNs, or some of the supported external, version control tools, yes, we can implement it as well. In that case, again, the time to set up will be slightly different to a usual central repository, because SVN or a version control based setup will have different EAP files in different instances, but that is definitely doable, and we have done it for a small system engineering team who are doing a pilot on it. As much as I said, we our preferred way is the central repository, but if the system engineering teams especially insist on having SVN integration, we can definitely do that as well, but that has to be discussed and planned accordingly.
Excellent. Let's say someone's been using Enterprise Architect for 10 years and has all of their existing repositories and data already set up, and they want to transition to this SaaS process. Is there a way to take that existing data and move it across to the SaaS platform?
Yes, definitely, and that's one of the promises from our side as well. So they could migrate their existing data, and we will make sure we employ the best practices to have a lossless migration to the new environment, and lossless without any business interruption as well. So we do the validation, we check with the users on the migrated data and make sure they it's 100% compliant, and then do the actual migration as well. So that's one of the key steps in the SaaS deployment.
Yeah, and I know you have answered some of these questions in your content, and I think one of the reasons why we're going to make this available on the Sparx Systems website and on the Sparx Systems YouTube site is that there's a lot of information here, and I think people are just picking on things that they know will help them get this implemented, because there's just things that they want to continue working the way they always have. They want to be able to bring across their existing data. They want to be able to set up MDG technologies and other SaaS technologies, and thankfully the answer to most of these questions has been yes. So I'm conscious of the time. There will be another session, and we will try to publish this on the Sparx System YouTube page once the European session has also been completed. I'd like to thank all of our customers. There's been lots of questions and lots of engagement, and it's been really great to hear from you all. Nazam, thank you for a very, very engaging and thorough presentation with lots and lots of details, and really appreciate that. And I think what's on offer here is a really fantastic way of getting Enterprise Architect. And I was going to ask you to bring this screen up because if customers want more information or they want to get a proof of concept or find out how much it's going to cost and have more specific questions, you can write to sas@sparxsystems.com or visit sas.sparxsystems.com, and that website shall help. So thank you very much for your time, Nizam. Thank you to all of our customers that have asked so many fantastic questions, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Scott. We can see there were quite a few questions that require some explanation. We will try to answer those questions in a follow-up email. However, please feel free to just drop an email to us. We can set up a time with you to explain and go through your concerns. So there has been questions about setting it up on premise. There's been questions about where is the data and things like that. It is in the region of choice, and we can definitely restrict as per the regional settings, but we'll be more than happy to have a word with you to explain this in more detail. So please reach out to us.
Excellent. Well, with that, I'll leave it and look forward to seeing you at a future webinar. Thanks for your attendance, and look after one another and have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.